Go.
All right. We're all set and ready to roll. Yep, we're rolling. Awesome. Welcome, Hunt Insiders, to a very special and new episode in regards to gaming, board gaming. And today we're going to talk about Gamehole Con. And I have with me Alex. Alex, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Alex Kammer. I'm a middle-aged nerd. Have been, well, I guess middle-aged not forever, but a nerd forever, and a lifelong gamer. And so, through a series of odd circumstances, I now run a, a convention that keeps getting larger and larger. So that's me.
And that convention is Gamehole Con, correct?
Gamehole Con. And let me anticipate the first question. Why such a weird name? Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Every
Yes.
single person asked me that, and that's a fair question. Obviously, if you are endeavoring to create a financial venture or a capital venture, you do not call it something like that. The game hole is my game room and the name of my game group, which has been in my basement forever. And so we called it the Game Hole. It's now not in my basement. Now it's in a different location because that's actually where I keep all my stuff too. I have a really big collection, and it's now in a different location above a pub I own. But
Got it.
so all the members of the Game Hole, who are gamers who I've known for many years, and we've played D&D and Call of Cthulhu and all kinds of RPGs and board games for years and years and years. Those are the people that run Gamehole Con. That's the staff. So the director of games, the director of marketing, the IT director, all those people are people I'll see tomorrow night when we go down to the game hall to play D&D.
And that's really cool. So let's give us a little bit of an idea of what to expect from Gamehole Con, and then because right now my audience, Haunt Collective, is very cosplay and also Halloween and haunted attraction based. So we're trying to broaden the horizons because there are a lot of nerds that do cross over into the cosplay and also into the haunted attraction acting and stuff like that. So for those people that don't know anything about Gamehole Con, can you give me a a synopsis of what Gamehole Con is for somebody
Sure,
who doesn't know what that is?
sure. Well, what it is a tabletop gaming convention. So tabletop games, things that are under that umbrella are role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, board games, which, man, talk about a gamut there. The market for board games has never been broader or deeper.
Mhm.
So there are the length and breadth of board games. So you can be anything from, Monopoly, the most, some of the more recognizable Parker Brother games, to these incredibly complex uh, games that are out there now. So we'll have many hundreds of board games going on at any given time. So you can really find whatever flavor you like. Miniature games, those are either fantasy miniatures like Star Wars battles or
Mhm.
historical miniatures. They reenact battles and so on, things like that. So those are the main types of games. We also have a lot of other things going on at Gamehole Con, and one of our biggest ones is True Dungeon, which is a immersive dungeon experience that is a 2-hour experience. It takes place in almost 50,000 square feet of convention hall, and very high level special effects and costuming and experience. So you basically get the feel of actually playing live action D&D through a dungeon with monsters and NPCs and all that kind of stuff, and effects and sounds and lights, and it's pretty amazing.
So that go ahead.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like a haunted attraction,
Yes.
but for a gamer.
Yes, exactly. And we have a lot of cosplay. We have, LARPing is basically the step between. I don't know. I don't know if that's completely accurate, but it's basically people who dress up and yet play a game. So instead of just dressing up to dress up, and but then they're actually role playing battles, and they'll have oftentimes go with foam weapons and spar and all this kind of stuff. So we have several groups that do that at the show too. So there's a lot of costuming that goes on. Now this year, because our the first day of the show happens to be Halloween, it's going to be very spooky and very cosplay-y and very haunty. I mean, we're going to do all that stuff. We're going to promote the hell out of that and try to make that a big part of the show. Everyone, the vast majority of people will have costumes, and it'll be really, really fun. And I can tell from, we're already taking gaming events already. People are submitting events for this fall, and it's very much horror themed stuff. A lot of Halloween themed
Awesome.
things. It's be pretty sweet.
Awesome.
I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. That's really cool. So you touched on the interactive portion of the what was it called? Live True Dungeon, correct?
True Dungeon, yes. Yeah.
So can you give us a little bit more information on what True Dungeon is? Like you said, a 2-hour experience. Can you kind of give us an idea in words what somebody would be experiencing in that situation?
Sure. First of all, a really easy thing to do is quick Google search of True Dungeon. They have a great site with great videos and tutorials.
Okay.
But leaving that aside, what you do is when you do a True Dungeon run, you first of all you do it as with groups of 10 people, and you start and you get some actual coaching in a small room where they explain how the game works, and you can pick a character class, not unlike any Dungeons and Dragons class, like a thief or a fighter or a cleric or whatever. And those different classes can do different things in the game to help the party succeed. It's a cooperative game. It's a cooperative event that the group, optimally up to 10, but it can be as much fewer than that go through a True Dungeon run at a time. And what you do is you go from room to room, and there are two types of rooms: combat rooms and puzzle rooms. And you have 12 minutes to clear or pass that room before you can go on to the next one. And combat is done with tokens. Actually, the tokens be used for lots of things, but the tokens indicate things like weapons and armor and so on. So you can sort of build your character. And if you've never played True Dungeon before, you get a starter set of these tokens the first time you play, and you build your character based on those tokens. And you go in, and when you fight monsters, it's on a shuffleboard kind of apparatus, and you have to slide your weapon token up a board and try to hit the monster on certain spots. But the puzzles can be anything, and they're extremely elaborate. My partner in True Dungeon, I'm one of the owners of True Dungeon, by the way. I'm minority owner, but my partner who does all of it is Jeff Martin, and I don't think he gets enough credit for being a real an honest to God game designer. Because he's very tied up in the haunt scene himself. Constantly looking at new technology and new effects and all those kinds of things to do. I mean, some of the things that he does are mind-blowing, but also just the game system that he's put together and the mechanics of it, and then the types of the complexity of puzzles that he puts together, which can be a combination of problem solving or sort of physical puzzles and all kinds of stuff. And it's really the people who start and like True Dungeon really like it, and it's massively popular. For example, at Gen Con, which is our biggest convention in the industry for tabletop gaming, True Dungeon sells 8,000 tickets in about 50 seconds. It's insane.
Oh my god!
So it's crazy. So it's neat. So I'm of course delighted to have them have that come up to our show. It's something that just very few shows around the country have it, because it's 3 semis load of stuff to come to set up to do this. This is not some dude with a Volkswagen who's unloading some stuff.
I'm really excited to experience True Dungeon. So that's definitely one of the things on our list when we come to check out the show.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, Grant, do you have anything to add?
Well, we were just talking a little bit. Yep, drink your beer.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
We were just talking a little bit. How this got started. Kind of at what point you go from let's have our own little game group to around a table to it'd be great if we had our own convention.
Sure.
Boy, I play on Thursdays, and not once has anyone suggested it'd be a great idea. Let's have our own convention.
Yeah.
Not once has that come up.
It's of course, as most good things do, start as a joke. And wouldn't it be fun? And because we're thinking about, first of all, Madison is a great gaming town, and there's never been a real big convention here, just a real pure gaming convention. And we used to have Gen Con here in Milwaukee, but that moved to Indianapolis. So there's kind of a void. And gaming, tabletop gaming is a big deal here. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons was founded and invented here, and we have 6 robust game stores in the Dane County area here in Madison. It's crazy. So we were just kicking around, and wouldn't it be funny? Gosh, maybe we should think about it. And then we started planning a little bit, and that's when some people suggested Gamehole Con. That's a terrible idea for a terrible name for a show. At that point, my will congealed, and I said, okay, now I'm going to do everything I can to make Gamehole Con into a monster, and it is going to be the things that I can control, which are the best run convention in the country. So we can make it, because we have it's a group of talented people who play I'm very fortunate to play D&D with, other professionals, and together, we could really run a big company well. They're different. The skills are very complementary. So the group of us can do things that a lot of other conventions can't. We spend a lot of time pre-thinking problems and solving problems before they happen. So, namely, our thing was, you show up at the convention, you get a packet. In that packet is a badge with your name on it, spelled correctly. Also in that packet is a schedule that has your games and your game tickets correct, and also real clarity as to where you're going, when, and how to get there. And then when you get there, that game that's scheduled happens. The person who's supposed to run the game is there and ready to go. And just don't tolerate anything short of that. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's why, and also have fun. And also because we're not, with a name like Gamehole Con, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We just want to it's a celebration. It's just
that is true.
Game party, man. Just have a great time. And so I think when we look at our data as to retention, very few people who come to our show fail to come back. I mean, it's unbelievable compared to the other shows like the PAXs and Gen Cons of the world, what our percentage is. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I think people like the show, and that's why growing as consistently. We've been growing at this 35-40% a year growth, which is insane. So that's why year 7 here, we're expecting right around 500,000. 5,000 people. 500,000. My God, yeah. Wow. No, 5,000. And that'll be plenty.
So to bring that slip of 500,000. Obviously, Madison, the convention center there is smaller than normal convention centers. Would you ever think of moving it outside of Wisconsin, or are you dead set on leaving it here? Because I think it should stay here.
Yeah. No, it would be, I guess if some outside group came and bought it and they want to move it, I guess that could happen. I can't even see putting it up for sale. But no. We were talking about before we hit record that the state of Wisconsin just announced a big redevelopment there. Now, the Alliant Energy Center is a really nice convention center. It's very modern. It has a lot of great features, and it's big, but it's not. Yes, you're right. It's not big like Philadelphia or Las Vegas, or something like that, or McCormick Place or something like that. But they just announced they're adding 200,000 square feet to it. So that's now getting in that middle range of you're still not Indianapolis, but you're certainly bigger than anything in Milwaukee, and you're getting to some pretty big space. Man, that's the thought of filling all that with convention goodness is a little daunting and frightening.
Daunting?
Yeah, that'd be a big show. But I mean, so far so good. We try to scale. We've thankfully we have wonderful volunteers who pitch in. We have a great volunteer coordinator who puts it all together for us. So with but 4 volunteers, this is 0% chance this would happen. I mean, the first 2 years we ran it just with the 8 but that's no longer possible. So yeah.
Well, you've got this point too. You've gone from 0 to huge in 7 years. You're at this point too, where like the celebrities and the special guests list is getting absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's really been cool. What's happened is that people come to the show, and we were able to convince a couple of sort of big name people in the gaming industry to come early on, and they really liked it and have been unrelentingly promoted us and telling everyone about how cool they thought our show was and how much fun it was and how well they were taken care of. And so this just spreads. So, literally I got a email contact from Deborah Ann Wall
Yep.
asking me about coming to Gamehole Con. I thought, holy cow, this is insane. I mean, this is just so we're working on getting that sorted out so that she can come out this fall and play in some of our charity D&D games so we can raise some money for children's hospitals. So that's
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And that's the big part of it. We try to we always have at least one, usually two charities. And we don't make any money. Whatever money whatever extent we're in the black, it all goes to one of those charities. So we try to make it a break even proposition for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yes, we actually had the opportunity to chat with Matthew Lillard last year, which was a bit of a shock and a surprise.
Yeah.
Seeing him.
Yeah, he'll be back. His company, Beetle and Grimm, and Matt will be back. Yep. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I think actually, quite frankly, Matt is the reason why Deborah Wall contacted us, because he plays on her D&D, her streaming D&D game, and yep. He probably was talking out of school and saying nice things about us, and that's what one thing.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
So yeah, it's neat. I mean, it's it's one of those things where. The knuckleheads and I kicking this around and talking about wouldn't it be funny, and then we start it, and we're, I'm printing badges on my office machine. Year 1 and 2. And now it's just this thing. You have to learn. There's so much to learn about where the hell do you find that many lanyards? And all the marketing stuff that's out there, the signage and all the swag, and each year it's a lesson, and we're trying to stay in front of it, and provide cool stuff to everyone each year, and it's been working out so far. But yeah, it's unbelievable how explosive it's gotten. I mean, I literally it's fortunate that I have some flexibility with my job, because I spend at least a few hours a week every week on it, and some weeks a lot of hours on it. So
a lot more.
Yeah. So, but so do the other guys. I mean, this is not. I get a lot of credit from the show, but the other fellows work really hard on this too.
So Grant is a seasoned vet when it comes to gaming, and I am a super noob when it comes to it. Your show obviously caters to the veterans and the professionals. What about somebody like me?
Oh, I wouldn't.
How would I get involved in something like this? Is there a way that I can learn while I'm there?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, it's for gamers of all stripe. I mean, we have a robust kids track where kids come and play, run games for each other and play games, and we have lots of introduction games in virtually every type. That's our highest need, actually. We need more introductory games, because we have so many people who heard that, hey, it sounds cool, but let me check it out, and they want
exactly what we're at.
Yeah, and they want to get into a game and learn. Dungeons and Dragons, a role-playing game like that especially seems a little inaccessible. Like, wow, you have to know. I mean, there's all these rules, and how the hell am I gonna be able to play a game like that? But there are games, and we have lots of them set up to take someone who doesn't know anything about a role-playing game and teach them the basics and have a good time. I mean, my wife is not a gamer at all, and she usually will play one game every year at Gamehole Con, and so she'll get into something and plays it. So we have all kinds of. So it's not just D&D, but it's all the game types, and people. Gamers. All we want to do is show people how cool this is, because it's so vindicating, because it's been, quite frankly, a marginalized community for so long. Oh, you nerds and all this kind of stuff. So now that it's becoming so mainstream, it's so exciting. You can say, hey, you check this out, and let me show you the joy of this and why we enjoy it so much. And if it's a board game or a miniatures game or any number of the awesome role-playing games we have out there, people love to teach. And if you look at our game catalog, it'll say experience required, and so many of them will have, no experience required, or some familiarity with the game, or lots of familiarity with the game. So it's very easy to self-select, so you can get into the right game that's
cool.
Right for you. Yeah. So absolutely, give it a shot. Come roll some dice and just give it a shot. I think you'll dig it. It's fun.
That's cool. So you guys, you have a lot of gaming and all that set up. I know there's going to be vendors. Can you talk a little bit about the vendor space and what vendors are going to be there for the people that are going to be there? Yeah,
that's an oversight on my part. Yeah, we have a big vendor hall relative to our size. I think we'll have 60 different vendors this year in the dealer hall, so it's a pretty good sized dealer hall, and it's all gamer adjacent stuff. So there'll be publishers, game retailers, sort of game paraphernalia types, people selling dice and miniatures and all that kind of stuff. But then there's geek clothing, geek crafts, all that kind of stuff. So it's all nerd stuff, but it's not all, just everyone selling board games. It's all kinds of neat stuff. And,
Cool.
yeah, it's a pretty fun shop, and the people often want to come and just check that out. They'll do that, maybe play a game or two, but they really want to get in the dealer hall. We also have a really big free games library. That's an essential feature of our show. So, the Milwaukee Company of Gamers has been with us for years, and they do a great job. They have thousands of games. They have a very professional forward face, the way they do it. You check out a game, and it's they have an electronic system. They scan your game in and out, and we have a big play area for it, so you can come and play games for free as much as you want with your sit down with your friends. So it doesn't have to be a scheduled ticketed game. You can just pick up any board game. They have literally thousands of them and play. And we have also a lot of open play space. That's something that used to really piss me off, quite frankly, is going to bigger conventions and you buy a new game and you have no place to play it. Because they filled every square inch with basically money-making opportunities for them. Selling a table to this company, selling a table to that company. Well, that sucks, quite frankly. So there has to be a place where you can just sit down with your friends and play your own whatever game, and that's important to us. We try to always expand that every year in lockstep with our attendance, so we have enough open gaming space. That's part of our philosophy too.
What about food? I know.
Yeah.
I know. There's always I know there's always there has to be the Mountain Dew that always goes along with the nerd that's gaming. What about food? Like, is there going to be any specialty food, or are we just going to have any? Talk to me about food.
Sure. Fortunately, the answer is not standard convention fare, which is pretty yucky, and
which is fantastic.
Yeah. The standard concessions in any of these places look all the same. Right? It's the pump cheese on the thing, and it's the that's it. So what we do is, and it took a little bit of hard negotiating. Let's put it that way. We have permission to have a series of food trucks parked right in front of the Alliant Energy Center, and it's great. So there are usually we've had 6, I think we're up to like 9 this year of different really awesome food trucks. I mean, that's what I do. I grub that stuff the whole weekend. It's so great.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Yeah, because the convention people don't appreciate how this event's different from a trade show. Or something where, like it's a canoeing show or a hunting and fishing show or a bridal show or whatever the hell it is. People go to that park, go to it, go through it, maybe get a hamburger, and then they're out, right? They're gone. They're done. They don't. Our people come for 4 days. They're on campus for 4 days. You can't expect them to eat, the plastic nachos and the pathetic rolling hot dogs for 4 days. Even gamers have higher standards than that. So, so
that is true.
I have to agree, and I have to commend you for going the extra mile and bringing in food trucks, because I tell you, that's going to keep me on campus. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's and it's also for at least my part, pretty selfish on my part too, because I'm there the whole time too. So no, it's important to make sure that we have good food and a variety of food. It's not. We have a lot of vegetarians in our community, and whatever, all that just to accommodate everyone too. It's nice to have some better food. So it's that's
the Korean barbecue truck last year was pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
that was a favorite of mine.
Those were good.
Korean barbecue. Oh my god.
Korean barbecue truck, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Grant, do you have any last words or anything like that to ask?
I do not. This was absolutely fantastic.
So let me share some basic details for people who are interested. Yeah. So the show is October 31 through November 3. Hopefully every question that you may have can be answered on our site, which is gameholecon.com. Just any Google search will come up that. Fortunately, that's not a very common term. And so people are submitting games to us now. Badges go on sale in June, but they're for sale all the way up to and at the show. Parking is always free. We buy out the parking at the Alliant Energy Center, so people can park. Because that's another thing that pisses me off. You go to a convention and you get shaken down for $15 before you even get in. Come on.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's okay. Fortunately, thank you. But the buyout is spendy for us, but it's not. It's certainly a lot less than had everyone paid individually, and so that makes us feel good about it. And then there are day badges available, and weekend badges are a little better buy. But you know, there's lots of stuff to do, and each year there's more. So you have a hard time seeing everything and doing everything, even in a 4-day show.
That's awesome.
So,
do you have any social media links or anything out there, or is it just Gamehole Con?
Yep, we have an official Twitter page. We have a Facebook page that have the same handle. You know, at Gamehole Con, and the same for Facebook. I think that's it for official ones. There are some subgroups. There's a fans of kind of things and stuff like that on Facebook too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Alex. We look forward to talking to you again once we get closer to the official con date, and we'll keep you posted. You can keep us posted, and we'll talk to you soon.
I'm looking forward to that too. You guys come up into the game hole and see the magic that goes on up there. Show you some real collectibles. Show you where the hobby came from. Yeah, that'll be great.
I'll be honest. I was excited about this before when Grant has been talking about it, but now after talking to you, is it October yet? I mean, seriously, I am so excited to check all this stuff out. So
that's
again,
awesome.
I appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking to you in the near future.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Take care.
Yep. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. At all of my hunt insiders, you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next time.